So much like anybody, or everybody, I should say. I've been watching Obi-Wan Kenobi and enjoying it. But, it's outside of continuity. Let's face it. Like, it's skirting some things and completely wrong in others. I heard a thing where, in regards to the prequels, so episode 1, 2, and 3, um, were made for a new generation, and that sort of makes sense. I mean, there's so many years between four, 5, 6, and then when 1, 2, 3 were made. Obviously, like, we went from creating everything by hand for the first 3 to completely CGI for the prequels. And my 2 cents is I freaking loved the graphics and visuals of the prequels. And the story was fine. I definitely think it could have been handled a little better. A lot of the dialogue was cheesy. But I think for the most part, it worked. The last 3, 7, 8, 9 were a total mess, and they should have out and out developed a story ahead of time and had a solid plan rather than building off of each movie as they went, which, is a total mistake. So, yeah, okay. So, the visuals here have nothing to do with the what I'm talking about. I'm just drawing to draw because I want to work myself towards being an artist, comic artist, and I'm not concerning myself with what I'm drawing per se, just the fact that I'm pushing a pencil around. And you can support me on Patreon if you're interested. I've been down the past couple of days, but I'm back to it. I'll post something there later. Maybe this more extended visual you see before you. Maybe something else. I have responsibilities I don't want, but I've got to do each day now. And yeah, life can be drag, but keeping things going. So yeah, continuity of story is the subject. Yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi definitely got me thinking in that department. I think Ewan McGregor is phenomenal in the part. I just don't think that, like, let's say everything was written from the very beginning. This is not what we would have gotten. Really, the Star Wars was built off of serials like old Hollywood serials. And, it diverted that from that with the prequels a bit. It got too heavy into the whole government stuff and explaining the Force, which, I personally think were wrong moves. But I have been enjoying Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, I just don't buy above and beyond just enjoying it, really. Like, you can't, at this point, you can't really pick apart Star Wars as if most of it was consistent, because most of it has been inconsistent. But whatever, Disney isn't going away anytime soon, therefore Star Wars isn't going away. Regardless if they do it right or do it wrong, they've proven they could do a lot wrong and still have a life. So there you go. It's up to us independent comic creators to make new properties, new creations, and show them how it's done. That's my plan with retro and a bunch of other creations I plan to put out there. It's really dark, and maybe that's my settings. I apologize. Yeah, I gotta eventually get new light bulbs, or change my settings. But another thing got me thinking, and this is like, it's great to binge television shows. And I've been watching Lucifer. I don't know if you watched Lucifer. It's based off the comic, kind of, sort of, I guess. I've read random issues of Lucifer. And I was interested in checking out the whole series. And I'll tell you why. More because, it does have a big fan base and whatnot. But I was interested because, half the series was on network television, and it definitely shows. But then it was picked up, whatever, by Netflix, and I thought, oh, this is a curious happening. I wonder if they'll make it even more risque. Now that they can pretty much do anything, although maybe they'll keep to, sort of the structure and the ratings borders that were created already. I will say I'm on season 5, maybe about a third in. And it's definitely riskier than what was on while it was on the network. But I've been, binging it, kind of, because I'm trying to watch it all, but I'm watching other things in between it and whatnot. It's not a show you could binge. It's too much of a format and too much changes on a dime with the story. And I get that for drama's sake, but other shows don't do it incredibly, and I guess it's a matter of the writing. I guess it's along the same lines of reading a comic series all at once as opposed to reading it as it comes out, and maybe you pick up more on the subtleties become blatant hits over the head. as you're, if you read through it faster. But it is a good show. It is a good cast. At this point, I'm more interested in where it goes, and I want to see the steps to the end. So, yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Not giving up on it at this point. Yeah, just curious where it heads, where it ends. I think one of the main characters leaves the show, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't read that much online, but I did notice that. So how do you explain that? Or it's not really a main character. But yeah, let's see. I had another show in mind. I don't know. Just continuity of story is important. Oh, I want to reference like Marvel and DC. Marvel and DC were strongest when they were consistent with their characters and their stories, and when Marvel started renumbering their books and DC started laxing on their real definitive, like, this is what Batman is, this is where he is currently, this is what his costume looks like, and it had like absolute like standards for all that. Yeah, they lost the quality of their books went down. And to me, that I stopped reading things consistently in the 90s. I mean, I was reading thousands of books at one point, so it kind of burnt myself out, and not on the best best stuff. But luckily, we can always go back and read the old classics, read 70s, 80s comics. And it's funny because back in the 70s, I thought, oh man, everything's so boring, like they're losing their edge. But I've gone back a couple of times and looked at books from the 70s, and I'm like, this stuff was hot. This, not only great stories, but great art and really consistent characters. Even if the characters had arcs and whatnot, they kept true to a vision. And to me, that's what continuity is keeping to a vision of what you want the book to be, what you want the characters to be, and where you're taking things. Like, it's too easy to do things for drama's sake, to turn a character on its head, turn a situation on its head, to drop in a major villain, to kill a character, whatever. It's too easy. And I mean, it works once or twice, but don't make your story do that too often, because it will fail over time. I'm no expert, and like my endeavors are ahead of me, but like these thoughts that go through my head, and hopefully help you and in your process of making comics and art and story. So yeah, if you like what I'm doing here, this is pretty much going to be my summer run. It's just going to be me on my channel, drawing, doodling, and talking about certain things that will help me improve what you're up to. So subscribe if you haven't already. Like, comment below the video. I love to hear from people, and I need, I still need more than 4,000 watched hours. So go back over my old videos. I have over 700. Yeah, a lot of great ones. So please go check them out. And I'll see you again next time. Keep making art.